being a new.
Yes, sir.
Knew everything. Okay, hello everyone. I'm not live yet. I guess I am live.
Yeah, you are live, George.
Okay, great. Okay, George Webb here with one of the people, contributors to Neighborhood News Hour, which is Mark Buckley.
Hi there, George.
Hi. So you heard the news. You came in.
Oh, I had to. This is like a car accident or some horrible event.
Your child is in the hospital. He's
Yeah.
in intensive care. I told everybody a little bit of the story. If you haven't heard, Neighborhood News Hour's YouTube channel was canceled, terminated with no warning. And what we're trying to do is pick up the pieces, but we're transitioning now to BrandNewTube, where free speech seems to be a little more valued. But the video that you didn't see this morning was Aaron Adler. There's Aaron right over there on that channel right there. But Aaron Adler, who started Neighborhood, the YouTube channel, holding his child, Jordan, a 3-year-old. And I asked him the question, and of course his other 2 little ones are behind him. I asked him the question, now you're not a WIHTE supremacist, are you? And he picks up his children, and says, I don't think so.
That's something. Ray needs to substantiate the claims that he's made. What is your source for white supremacy is some threat? Show us the evidence. You made the statement. I always thought you had to show your work. Right? Show us your work, Ray, and everything that you said to Congress. Okay, you made us flippant remarks and asides. Okay, and nobody really asked you to prove your point, because I don't believe that anything you said is true.
Right.
I really don't. I think it's all BS, and I don't believe that you can prove your points.
Right. And this is YouTube saying somehow the founder with 4, mixed race children is somehow a WHITE supremacist. And that to me is a very strong claim to make. We believe that's the reason we were shut down under some kind of clause that you're referring to, that FBI Director Christopher Wray is referring to. I think they're confused by the fact that there is some white blood in me. There is some in Addy ads, but there's just as much native blood in Addy as there is white blood. And you saw the children were certainly mixed race, I guess you would say, and his wife is certainly black from Ghana.
He might have offended the supreme white people. There are those supreme white people.
Yeah, that's true.
The masters of the universe.
Oh, those guys. Okay.
It's like the old, really, like the technocrats. They're like the old landed gentry. And they treat us just like we're their pet, the serfs.
We're the serfs.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to tell people that the News Hour is a 7-year-old organization, and it was mainly for teaching kids in Ghana at one inland orphanage. And then when that closed down because of the funding source dried up, because the kids didn't have a way of getting sort of sponsorship from tourists, that it moved to the beach closer to where the oil executives were. Now, you've been there. You've been to Ghana. I've just seen the photos, but Aaron was instrumental in building a second orphanage near the beach, right? And you've been 2 or 3 times, right? So you can speak to this, okay? It was, I mean, we had 7 years before we had a YouTube channel of service to teaching kids the news at the end of the day after their studies during the day. Can you attest to that?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your trips to Ghana and your interactions with the Neighborhood News Hour, just so everybody knows what got canceled. They might think that this is some kind of shell organization or something like that.
You can still go. There's still a website up that teachonthebeach.org. It's maintained by students in Africa. They've got the administrator keys to it, and they keep it up to date. What we were wanting to get going here and hoping this Neighborhood News Hour was kind of part of that, was to get that aspect of it going again and getting tours, because I think it's an exciting, Africa, West Africa, that's like a frontier. You know, it's like there's so much opportunity there. Okay, the NGOs don't. They want you to think it's some poor place that's filled with poverty and squalor. It doesn't have to be like that. There you've got people speak English, you know, and there's the mall and the crowd right by the airport. I mean, whatever you want, you know, is available in the crowd. And you find a lot of people from Great Britain come down there. So it's Greenwich Mean Time, you know. They can just
Now,
fly.
is Accra, the capital, is a little bit away from where Aaron's orphanage is, right?
It'd be the equivalent of from Cleveland to Toledo.
Okay, so a
mileage-wise.
couple of hour drive.
A 6 hour drive because it would be like taking the old highways. Like imagine if you drove from Toledo to Cleveland, you took Route 20.
Okay.
You know, or you know, all the old. It's like, and then you get behind a banana truck that's, you know, climbing the hill and it's going 5 miles an hour. You know,
but there is a 4-star facility where these petroleum guys are staying that are visiting Ghana and so forth. So that was the whole idea, was that so the kids could sell their wares, some of the African art and so forth that you see on the wall to support themselves, so they wouldn't have to beg, and they wouldn't have to, so they wouldn't starve.
And not only that, you know, it's the surfing is good there.
Surfing's
so
good.
You had the Black Star Surf Club that kind of was set up, and so you were drawing that because their surfers come from all over the world, you know, and they come in, and those dollars come in, and then they get interested in it because the surf club is like two doors down, kind of from the house, you know, and then the Boussois Beach Resort, which is the big, you know, fancy resort where you get your own little house, you know, with a little porch out front. You know, they're like little miniature condominiums. It's not where you're up in a tower. There is that there too if you want, but it's not built to, you know, specifications about the stairways are steep stuff. You know, they're not, you know, ergonomic. It's like, man, it hurts when it hurts going down the stairs. You can feel it in your chin. You never done that? Those old stairways, that kind of stuff. But the resort's wonderful. You could even do old school fishing. I mean, they go out with the nets. They got, you know, and you go over to Dick's Cove. You felt like you just dumped into a Dutch master's printed, you know, a painting here of this old fishing town. It's really, and the slave castles. There's a lot there that you don't know about. That would just be exciting trip and an opportunity where you could buy in, you know, and really. This beach house, it would be the equivalent of like Waikiki Beach in, you know, the beginning of the 20th century. You know, it's unbelievable what could go there.
Now, and you mentioned the slave castles, and this might be why we did talk a little bit about the slave castles. This might be why we got terminated. These slave castles that Mark's talking about are actually holding pens, basically for one African tribe enslaving another African tribe and then waiting there for African traders to then, or European ships to then leave with slaves. So now, Aaron, I just want people to know, always taught the native people about this. He wasn't saying that these were the grand old days of white supremacy or anything like that. He's got 4 black kids. You know, he was teaching the kids that were there about these horrible days. And from what I've heard is without the news coming to these kids, they would remain sort of electronically enslaved, and unless they engaged in the news and learned that how the world system was working. Is that your understanding, or do I have that wrong?
That's a nutshell. I look at it as I see greedy people keeping that third world status so that they can come in and take all the resources of the country and impoverish, you know, kind of the mercantile system is still kind of in the back of, you know, my mind. Your wealth is based on how much gold and silver you have. And Ghana, for example, is a rich country. Okay. And it's like, it could have its own central bank, and it should be controlling the cocoa trade, because that's where it all comes from. Why is the cocoa trade based in Belgium? You know, thing, you know, so the Europeans, they want to keep like Europe or Africa under their thumb, when it really is like everything's in Africa now. And Americans should come to realize like we should be doing business there back and forth, you know, there should be something. Accra should be like Dubai. It could be like that. It just bring the capital in. It needs electricity, okay, and it needs water and sewer. to just like any other area would need to be developed.
Right. And so that answers that. The Slave Castle tours were only to show the history, not in any way, and they're mainly for the folks that are there. But people who do go on tours do go visit the slave castles and so forth. So I do want to be upfront about that. But the idea here was that there's still a shortage of money. There's still a shortage of funding. At the orphanage, I've been witness to a couple of the phone calls where Aaron's still subsidizing that, and the idea of having a news channel here would be to collect the news here with local events, show how reporting is done, show how research is done, and then we would be able to provide this model for Africa, for Ghana, and then news hours all over the world. That it doesn't, you don't have to be waiting for Sky News, you don't have to wait for BBC, or you don't have to wait for ABC or NBC or CBS or CNN. You can do this yourself. There's a Ukrainian oligarch by the name of Kolomoisky who owns a very large manganese mine, where he's enslaving a lot of the people of Ghana. So we're trying to send that message that this is a latter day slave master. And so the intent here was never, I don't,
If you believe the resources belong to the people.
if you believe the resources belong to the people. Yeah. And you did a lot of work here starting and launching this channel. Obviously it's grown a lot since then. We in about a month added about 3,500 subscribers. Were we doing the things that you originally had envisioned?
Oh, it's gone beyond that. And I was seeing that we could, even like get this Ghana thing going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's amazing. I'm excited to maybe be there when I'm retired.
Right. That's coming up. Yeah. So, you're getting close to that age, right? So I think that I just wanted to have one of the founders come in and, of course, Mark drove a long way to get here. A lot of people think, oh, everyone lives right around the corner at the neighborhood news hour, but these people have jobs. You have a job where you work, 40 hours a week, and you have responsibilities of transportation type job. So you had to drive down here, to get here and respond to this, right? So this is taking out of. I realize it's Sunday, but you have a.
Well, this is another way of rolling up people's, the small businesses, because there are a lot of people that depended on YouTube for their ways of life, and their business has been rolled up just the same as, the corner restaurant or any other thing. Their means of income has been taken from them, and you can see it here.
And you tried to, this place is a good example of that. They had a tutoring business that was basically wiped out by the coronavirus. And so Aaron, rather than just walking away from his lease, was saying, hey, let's retool this and start a YouTube channel here. Isn't that kind of the idea?
Right. And we're not even getting, and look at the stimulus, the stalling on the stimulus. Okay. Where at least you would give the people some money. Because the door's open for all the big guys to come in and get all the market share that's been wiped out, off of Main Street. And even try and keep the embers of Main Street alive. It's like, that's what's going to come here. So maybe we're getting a stimulus talk now because the election's around the corner. We gotta cover up for some things that came out that we didn't think were going to come out. And that's the only reason that we're going to give you the money, because we really hate you and we really want you to starve. So you have to come and beg to us, okay, to get your own money back.
Yeah. And I think you're looking at someone who has basically come to the aid of a friend. You weren't here with the tutoring business, right? Aaron called you about a month ago and said, hey, Mark, what do you think? Can we go to remote? Can we do remote news and start this news channel? And so this wasn't started with the intention of, hey, I'm going to go out and become a media mogul.
Remember, we had Neighborhood News Hour in Ghana. It's like, bring that here. We'll just run it over here now. And hopefully, I know we had gotten to that point where we could link into the guys over there, because there's a lot going on over there. And the president of Ghana, is extremely popular. He likes President Trump. I think it would be good, for us to foster that positive because Ghana is kind of like us in its relationship with Great Britain. They're an independent colony, but they were a colony like we are. Okay, we want to have a relationship with them, but we don't want to be, under their thumb or their banking system. So
Right.
we're and
There's a
especially
similar
with
history.
and I'm almost thinking that a lot of our situation that we're in right now has to do with some fissures. I'm running people, with their debit cards. Okay, and I was remember back in the '80s when the savings and loans started to melt down. Remember when it was like deposits made after 2 p.m. would not be available until the next banking day.
Right,
Remember that?
right.
Okay.
Well,
I'm running this thing now where we're trying to go to this cashless society, and I have these in the business that I'm in. I have like we call the subprime borrowers, so they get their debit cards from these. They're not getting Chase isn't going to give them one of these, but they have to go to other. So I'm seeing we'll swipe the card, okay, and then we're waiting, working. Okay, and then we get communication failure. Call the bank. Come to find out, the bank has withdrawn the money from this customer's account. Okay, but they won't release the cash to the vendor to complete the transaction. So I'm like, either that or you're so damn overdrawn that you can't release the money that's in the bank accounts. So where are we at? Is this why we're going to have to pour another $200 trillion into the financial system, just to keep this stuff going? Something stinks, and it stinks like 1987.
Yeah, there was a similar crash for people who don't remember that in '87. So obviously there's a lot of raw emotion here because
That's a good old Mark rant.
yeah. There's a lot of raw emotion here because you've not only seen the destruction of this news hour just in the last hour, but you've also seen the destruction of Toledo and other places like not Ann Arbor necessarily, but Detroit and so forth. So there's a little bit of raw emotion here. And I just wanted to say thank you to Mark for coming in and just saying, hey, have you ever felt that have you ever went to any meeting or read any book that was in any way advocated any kind of white supremacy or ever mentioned that or advocated that ever in your life?
No.
Yeah. And you've gone to Ghana how many times?
4 times.
4 times. And you've always interacted well with everyone there.
And I went to DeVilbiss High School in Toledo, Ohio. Okay. And remember the TV show Room 222?
Yeah.
That was that was the high school I went to. It was that kind of that ideal relationship. Okay. And the special interests couldn't leave it alone. They had to keep poking it and prodding it. And ultimately they had to close that school because nobody wanted to go there anymore.
Yeah.
But okay. We worked it out real well. Okay. So there's no excuse for any of this. It's like, to me, it's like, I remember this from the 1960s. This is a repeat. Okay. And the people that are talking, this white supremacist, you're going to come back. It all comes back to these crackpot academics that got put into the system 40 years ago. Repressive tolerance. Look that up, Marcuse, and now it's manifested, white supremacy, only for the supreme white people.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I thank you very much. And I just wanted to get everyone on record to say that there is not a hint of white supremacy here. You may go back to the video with Aaron holding his 3 black kids and 1 other black kid here and a black wife that are not here. This is all about Ghana. For those of you who don't know where Ghana is, excuse me, Addy, I'll walk over here in the news hour and you can see that making investments in bringing the newsroom into the electronics. And you can see over here in Africa, just to zoom in a little bit. Here is the West African coast. This has also been known as the Ivory Coast, also the Gold Coast. This is
Coast.
Which coast?
Grain Coast was there.
The Grain Coast, and this is the island of Ghana. So you can see Cote d'Ivoire is Ivory Coast, and it's French speaking, and then of course all these Burkina Faso and so forth. All this nation surrounding it, very troubled, lots of revolution. Nigeria is known with Boko Haram. So we have all this unrest here, and then Ghana is the gem here. Ghana is known as the the Nation of Peace. You may have seen the interview that I did with Rita here, there, who is the Black wife of our founder here. So any kind of interpretation that there's any type of supremacy going on here is really, I think this would be the last YouTube station in the United States that you would pick. So today's football day, so I'm going to move the football. Go Browns. I just wanted to go over here to one of the newer members just to get everybody's perspective on this. And here's Addy Ads. He's come here from, he was in Wisconsin. And then he went to help another YouTube channel in Buffalo, New York. Again, all volunteer. You obviously have a YouTube channel, and you're one of the featured Rhodium contributors to BrandNewTube.
Yeah, thank you, George. And thanks to Mark Buckley for joining us today. Got a good stream here on BrandNewTube. I was just doing some plugging and getting the word out about the stream we got going on today. The audio is superb and the video is getting there, so that's what matters, is good audio. We're not that good looking anyways, people, so all you really need,
you are, Addy.
Yeah, well, the important thing is to hear what George is saying and what Mark's saying, and we got some people in the comments now. So this is something we're going to be trying to do more regularly, is getting the BNT streams going. It's something I've noticed is that my subscribers grow more quickly or at a higher acceleration rate on BrandNewTube than YouTube. And I think that's because not only, like you said, George, I'm getting promoted as a Rhodium account, but there's no kind of sketchy algorithms or, possible shadow banning that is going on either, which is, unless you have access to those algorithms, you never really know for sure, right? So BrandNewTube is, where we're kind of putting our chips in the pot for this particular hand of poker we're playing. We kind of had to fold them and a little bit there on YouTube, but I still got my channel on YouTube. We still have the website, nnhour.com, for the Neighborhood News Hour website. And the podcasts are there, thanks to Andy, who's our tech guy, and he's got that all linked up. So we still got the audio, and I got some of the videos too on my channel as well for the broadcast that we did do at Neighborhood News Hour. It's just pretty unfortunate that YouTube felt the need to terminate a YouTube channel with not even 5,000 subscribers, and especially one that is helping out veterans and helping out a country like Ghana. When you look at Africa and as a continent, I was actually talking about this with our friend Tom last night when we were hanging out with Andy, and just talking about the defense of Africa and how really the UN, the Blue Helmets, they don't really make anything better. They just complicate the matter. So it's unfortunate that YouTube, is getting in the way of helping those people over there, helping veterans back here too, which is, as an American, we got the flags behind us, is I think something that should get everybody riled up when you look at just how our veterans are treated when they come back and the stuff that they are entitled to or not. And particularly when you look at the mental health aspect of things, the drinking, the suicides, I think these are bigger problems than the virus when you look at it in aggregate. So that's kind of what we're trying to do over here. And just looking at the comments, we are not that good. Good show. Audio is so good. I can hear Addy typing very fast. Thank you, guys. 71 words per minute by my calculation. Appreciate all of them from Florida. They bring a sense of calmness to all this, which is why they were the only ones I financially supported on the other channel. Speaking of that, guys, I think we're going to recommend people go for the refunds from YouTube. And this is something I want to relay to my channel too. People like Venus Latte, who's been a really supportive subscriber of mine, and a couple other subscribers who gave me super chats on YouTube. I still haven't seen any of that money. I think it was $200 or $300, and then I got the wrist slap, so to speak. I got demonetized, and I never got to access that money. So I did try to, but I think at this point it's safe to say you guys should go and try to get those refunds, because I don't know how to do it to get that money from them. It's really hard to talk to anybody in person. Over at Google, when you hear a guy like Ryan Dawson, he had to fly to Ireland to get his YouTube channel reinstated. He flew on the other side of the world from Japan to Ireland. So that's not something that we can really do right now, is fly to YouTube to get a couple $100. It just wouldn't be worth it. So I would say to my subscribers who have made donations, try to get those refunds, because I haven't seen any of that money. And as far as I know,
YouTube, Andy had told me that YouTube's actually encouraging the people who gave the money to go after us. You know, we don't have the money. And so this is another whammy that they're throwing on us. They're not only taking the 30% of the memberships, but then
You know what I would say?
just let Andy get in here.
Yeah, you definitely got to reach out. I'm not 100% sure we never took a dime out of the account, never did anything with it. So reach out to YouTube if you remember that signed up, or you gave us a super sticker or anything like that, because as far as I know, they're just hoarding all the cash. And if they're banning channels and taking cash at the same time, that's an even worse look. And we do need to start going to platforms like BrandNewTube, and there are some other ones out there that I'm not really sure of right now.
Tell me about your shirt that you have there, because you haven't been doing you haven't been doing the news. You've been doing just charity, just nonprofits. Yep. And that you just were out at this is like your, what, how many shows have you done with the guys doing the animal therapy?
Well, I've been trying to help out like the local politicians and doing their shows and getting their message out there, all the Republicans in the area. And I also try to help out the charities and broadcast their message, like you guys have been talking about with the Savings Veterans Homes and Little Blessings. I personally have been sitting there listening to these people's stories on a weekly and daily basis, and I would get little messages from veterans saying how much like they appreciate their stories being broadcasted out on the internet, because it doesn't happen very often, and it's a good way for them to communicate with civilians, as they always call us. I always find it a little weird, but I'm a civilian in that case. But it's a good way to communicate their stories and what they're going through and the trauma they experience and how they're trying to relate coming back to society. And with the channel being banned and stuff, and they've made probably, I don't want to say exactly how much, but a decent amount of money just from the donations and like people from our channel just going out and purchasing sweatshirts. And they had an event this weekend, and we went over there and broadcast with Jamie Paxton, and now that video's taken down. And so it's a lot of hard work that's gone into this stuff, and it's really sad, like just seeing all the hard work.
But the positive thing, guys, and I'm gonna say, you guys might be a little scared, I'm gonna say a naughty word, Benassi. We can say these words on BrandNewTube now, guys, because they won't take us down for swearing, or not that we want to, just swear it a lot, but, just talking about stuff we can't talk on YouTube. If we want to get deeper into Israel, we can do that without, fear of retribution from these people at the top of the Google empire and the YouTube empire. So that's another aspect that's really positive when you look at, turning a bump in the road into something better.
Yeah, and I just wanted to comment on, I've obviously been deplatformed for saying the people who were doing the weapons programs in NATO, the guy who ran the program, this Giuseppe Benassi, and he's running the AFRICOM, again, this is Libya, Syria again, the guy who's running that, with all the things that happened with that was illegal, right? That the person who at the UN, not the UN, but the European Union, who was writing the response to coronavirus, also was the same person for the Wellcome Trust that wrote the response to Ebola, and also the responses to MERS, and also the responses to SARS. And it just looked like that virus vaccine game again. And the person's name was Virginia Benassi. So when someone says, hey, China, remember, we're about ready to go to a trade war over this. When somebody says, hey, these couriers here that are coming in, they started it. The Chinese government said this. I was just reporting what the Chinese government said, that these people were coming in the U.S. So I looked at the people who had a NATO background. And so that's all I was doing. I don't want to. I reached out to those folks many, many times. They responded to me via CNN. I think there was a better way to get a hold of me than have Donnie O'Sullivan from CNN do the second smear job on me in 3 years. This started 3 years ago with Donnie O'Sullivan, with me, going after me. Again, all I was doing the first time was going to Piketon, Ohio, saying, where's the uranium? These are whistleblowers that were dying from plutonium poisoning, saying, we get the plutonium, we're cleaning the cylinders, but the uranium's not here. I think they gave it to somebody else. They're sitting in reactors in Asia somewhere, but it didn't ever get here. That was a story that needed to be told. And again, I'm the only guy who's ever gone to jail for uranium-1. So I guess we get to tell those stories. I guess we get to tell that kind of truth here now.
Yeah, and it's might take a little bit of coaxing from George, because they try to condition him using Pavlov's laws and trying to get him not to say stuff. So
George, and this is where I wondered with YouTube on all of this. I would be like wondering like what the real valuation of the stock in Alphabet is. You got this, this was it Rule 230, where they are a publisher, so they're absolved from liability, right? But they're acting as a publisher, so. And there's real cavalier about this disregard, which is telling me like, well, we really don't have any money. We're really broke as shit, so you can sue the shit out of us, but there's nothing but feathers here. And we're just going to run this lie out as long as the Fed will print the money to keep us going. Because it's like, they're not acting like a good fiduciary operating their business. And it's like, oh, we're going to take this channel down. We don't care if we're going to get sued for billions of dollars. There's nothing here. It's an empty closet. Well, that's my thought.
Well, I just want to remind everybody that Google is if not the highest valued stock, as far as one of the top 5 in the world in terms of market value. So, and YouTube being the biggest subsidiary of Google, Mark quite correctly points out that Trump signed an executive order saying if a platform, common carrier provisions apply, you need to carry the left and you need to carry the right, okay, without violating the terms of service. But if you cross the line into the area of a publisher saying, hey, I publish religious books on the right, I don't publish religious books on the left. When you cross the line from a common carrier or platform into the world of publishing, you now accept the liability. You now accept the liability of being a publisher, and that means you are backing everything that's published. Now we have Act Blue out there publishing with CNN, MSNBC, all publishing. Donald Trump is an agent of Russia. Donald Trump is working with Russia. Okay, these conspiracy theories that they've been publishing. Still. So that means what? And this may be a sort of a Marsh versus Alabama case in our case, because I think the case you're seeing us unload here and unfold here is the same.
Mr. Aaron Adler's giving us a buzz.
Okay, we're gonna end it right here. This is we might pick this up again with Aaron, but we're gonna end right here. I'll let everybody have a final word and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I just put my Discord link in the chat if anybody wants to join that. It'll expire in about 24 hours, and we can use that as a readout if this ever happens again. But also just a way for people to stay in touch, a different way as well. And if anybody wants to test out the super chat feature while we're live here, you want to give $1 or $2, you can do that as well, because we do. BrandNewTube does super chats, and we got the live chat now too, and they're always expanding, always improving on their setup here. So I just want to tell people that, and who knows, we might actually try to go live again later today, like George said, with Aaron coming around. But yeah, just be on the lookout for that as we get kind of a reorientation day here going on Sunday. Today is Sunday. I thought yesterday was Sunday, but
yeah. You're working around the clock. You don't see the light anymore. All right, with that, we're going to say goodbye for right now. We'll probably come back at you later this afternoon. We want you all test out the super chat functionality here to see if it works.
Give Addy a bunch of money.
or at least $1 to see if it works. You know, we've had our you know, it's kind of like the YouTube's burned down our barn, and we're farmers. You
After
know?
they stole all the hay.
After they stole all the hay, yeah. After they basically had us bring all of our people over, now they do it again. And this happened to me with 106,000 subscribers. Again, it seems like they're playing favorites. It seems like they're playing favorites here with their.
Good thing we got a bunch of stallions to ride to the finish line, so I think we should be all right.
Okay, you want to give out your number for dates, for dating? Okay, all right. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you all from Neighborhood News Hour. Look at this newsroom; it's really coming together. We got it all going on. We got the new board over there. We're still asking, hey Hunter, who's the big guy? Tony Bob Ulinski. So there you go. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.